What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to CM Aviation. Hope you're on a fantastic day today. And today we have massive unboxing number 68 for you all. I hope all of you are excited for today's video. We got some really cool models in here, all just from one retailer this time, Diecast Airplane Store. This was from their Labor Day sale. I think I got like 15 or 20% off. So yeah, very excited about this, and I hope all of you are as well. So with that being said, let's not waste any additional time and go ahead and get started, everybody. So yeah, really excited for this. I think this is going to be a really good one, and I'm really excited to see all of the cool models that are in here. There's quite a wide variety as well, so this is going to be awesome and really excited. So with that being said, let's just go ahead and get started taking them all out of the box, everybody. Oh yeah, okay, there's some really good ones in here. Very excited about this. Okay, so as you can see right here, we got a great variety of aircraft. So let's just go ahead and start getting them out. Quite a few GEMINIJETS new releases as well. So as you can see on the side right here, we have three of the newest releases. The Iceland Air Airbus A321neo, just too cool of a plane not to get. I just couldn't help it, so that's why we have that there. Finally, at long last, the Gemini American US Airways Heritage A321. Have been wanting that one for a long time, so glad they finally made it. And the Star Alliance United Boeing 777-200. Really excited for those. I think they're going to be awesome. We also have, I believe, another stand right here, so very excited to take a look at that. That's going to be cool. And then right here, we have one of two United Express Bombardier CRJ-550s. So glad they finally re-released it. It took way too long, so good job, Gemini, for finally getting that out. And we also have some additional ones in this plastic. So as you can see, we have another United Bombardier 550. We have an American Airlines Super 80. This is the 236 Alpha Alpha registration. And we also have the Sun Country Minnesota Gophers Boeing 737-800. So very excited for all these. This is going to be great. Let's not waste any additional time and go ahead and get started.
Wildcat Diecast has some of the best model aircraft deals out there. From great prices to all the brands to free shipping, Wildcat Diecast has you covered. This model aircraft retailer is a game changer and saves you money with every order. Save even more money with discount code CM Aviation for 10% off. Be sure to check out Wildcat Diecast and bring those amazing deals to your model aircraft collection today.
Alrighty, everybody, let's go ahead and take a look at this first aircraft. So here is the American Airlines McDonnell MD-82 November 236 Alpha Alpha, and this is the latest version of the black nose, and this time it has the screwdriver in APU piece. So very excited to take a look at this. Here's what the box is looking like. MD-82 McDonnell AA. Here's CGI, and you have all the different colors. An interesting way to approach this box. It's also worth noting that the other MD-80 from this release, the flagship Tulsa, was in the previous massive unboxing, so definitely check that out if you haven't already. But anyway, really excited to get into this. This is going to be a cool one. So with that being said, let's just go ahead and get that started, everybody. Here we go. Okay, so here is the aircraft itself, and we also have the CRP card. Here's what they're looking like right now on this particular release, so that's pretty nice, but they keep changing every day, it seems like. And let's go ahead and get this out here, and let me get a little bit more on in the way of working on the microphone so you all can hear me a little bit better there. It's easy to let that get distracted sometimes. And here it is, looking very nice, and I like the additional plastic piece that they're adding in, so NG, good job for always evaluating the plastic situation. I think that's quite helpful. There also was another piece in here, and that was this warning right there, so certainly happy to see that. But yeah, there it is, the American Airlines McDonnell MD-80. Alrighty, everybody, and here's the American Airlines McDonnell MD-82 registered November 236 Alpha Alpha, and this has the black nose on it. So really excited to have this aircraft in the fleet today. I think this is going to be a tremendous asset for the model airports. We continue to stack these American MD-80s, and while NG's release choices are certainly interesting at best, they continue to make high quality planes like this. So that being said, we're not going to waste any further time. I'm going to go ahead and zoom in and make sure that we're in focus here, and go ahead and get started with the details of the American MD-80 here by NG, like the 8th release right here. So let's go ahead and get started. Here's the cockpit windows along with the nose cone. As we know, NG always does an amazing job on these, so we love to see that. Nose landing gear door, and then you have some various panel details right here. Here's the L1 door, and this aircraft was, the actual plane itself was replicated before. It had a One World logo on it, so that's why you don't see that. So always nice to get the variety, but love having the black nose there on a screwdriver tail there, so that's really nice. First class is going to be up here. You got the American Airlines billboard titles. Got an antenna up here as well, and then you got Economy Plus right here, followed by the normal economy. So we know the drill on these beautiful American MD-80s. They're so nice. There is the antenna on the bottom as well, and NG just always does a great job on the polish on their American MD-80s. And it's crazy to say it like that, but that's really how many they've done, so that's really cool. Here's the overwing right there. You got the two overwing exits, and then you got the wing details there as well, so that looks really nice. And then you got the flap slats and speed brakes, so that's really cool. In the bottom of the aircraft, you got the main landing gear, got the stand hole, and all the additional details. NG is just so spot on this mold. They've done a really good job. I certainly think there's so many more airlines they could release, like Continentals, and just a wide array of MD-80s. Frontier is another one that would be really cool. So, but Gemini's beat them to the punch on several of those already. So, that being said, you got the L2 door. 26A is obviously the best seat in the house. It's going to be right here, so we'd love to see that. Got the bottom antenna as well, and then you got the beautiful GT8Ds. You got the clamshell reversers as well. The registration of this aircraft is November 236 Alpha Alpha, and then like I was hinting at, you got the screwdriver APU piece there, which is really nice to have this, and they rounded off one which we saw in a previous unboxing, so that's looking pretty cool. There's the American Airlines tail. The logo is always great on that. You can never beat it, and they do a really good job on the printing there. Horizontal stabilizers, APU, all those details back there, and then you got the little vent right there right before the APU begins. So that's really cool. The right side of the aircraft's just as nice, but you got two baggage doors right there, one below the billboard titles, one before the wing root, and you also got one right there before the engine after the wings. So yeah, this is just a great aircraft overall. NG continues to just do a great job navigating it. Top of the aircraft looks really nice with the exits, and then the bottom of the aircraft looks really good with the stand hole and the other applicable details. So very happy to feature this aircraft in the collection today. It is a really good one, and overall it is looking quite nice. So very happy to have that. That's a great one. Okay, everybody, next up we have the GEMINIJETS 1:400 scale American Airlines Airbus A321 US Airways Heritage. So really excited about these new releases from Gemini. They were really good, and Gemini continues to have really good releases. So that being said, we're just going to go ahead and take a look at this one. GEMINIJETS made for collectors by collectors. CGI the aircraft, Airbus A321, American Airlines billboard titles. Taking a full look here at the aircraft, it's looking quite nice. So there is that. Got the back of the box here, 2025 release, of course, so certainly happy with the efforts and philosophy there. Here is the pamphlet, and then you have the aircraft inside. So I've had the Aero Classics one for a long time now. Whenever that first release was, I want to say it was in 2021 when they did the A319 Heritage liveries, and then of course they did another version when they did the A321 Heritage liveries. So all of those reviews are on my channel if you'd like to check them out. But anyway, very excited to finally have the Gemini one, and I think it lives up to the hype. I'm just looking at it, it's really cool to have aerials and those additional details on it at long last. Alrighty, everybody, and here's the Gemini American Airlines Airbus A321 US Airways Heritage. So a really good looking model. I love their IAE A321s to maximize the capabilities, and it is really great to see that NG models that GEMINIJETS is maximizing the usage and good capacity here. So really good looking aircraft. We won't waste any further time and go ahead and get started. And I've always thought about doing a review from an angle like that at some point. So at some point I might do that, but in this case we'll just go ahead and turn it flat so we can do our traditional format. Here's the cockpit windows right here. Along with that, you got the nose cone. Then you got the L1 door right here along with the antenna. You obviously have the 4 airline logo, I believe, right there, or at least on the other Heritage liveries, they have the 4 different airlines right there, so that's cool. Again, A321, and then you have the red sheet line, and this is followed by the navy down here as well. Here is the nose landing gear and nose landing gear door. They look pretty nice, so obviously it's mainly just the nose cone right there that's a distinguisher, but actual front of the fuselage here looks nice. You have the American Airlines billboard titles right here, smaller, of course. Then you got the first class up here, and then you start with Economy Plus pretty quickly, main cabin entrance on the American Airlines. And you get right to the L2 door right there. And yeah, just a really good looking livery, nice and simple. I really like what US Airways did with this livery. Get the IAE engines, they look pretty good on Gemini, so very happy to see that. You have the various details on the panels here, and along with that you even have the exhaust looking quite nice, so very nice to see that. Here's the actual wing detail itself. It looks really good. You got the US Airways fence tip right here too, so very happy with those details and all of the above. Here's the slats, and you got the flaps and the speed brakes there as well. You got the main landing gear there too, so those look really nice. So overall, really happy with the efforts there. Here's the L3 door, and then you have the various lines that head up to the tail. You have 2 more antennas and the Wi-Fi box, so really happy to see that, and it turned out really good. Followed by that, you have the registration, which is November 578 Uniform Whiskey. You have the L4 door, the fleet code down there as well, and the US Airways tail, and you can see the colors coming up there, and you got the US flag. You obviously have it enlarged on the back if that's what they were going for, just some sort of line design, which is kind of cool. You got the red on the tail, APU, horizontal stabilizers, and all the additional details. Right side of the aircraft is very similar, but you do have the baggage door below the billboard titles and one between the L3 and L4 door. So yeah, I'm really excited to finally have this aircraft here with the antennas and so forth. This does complete the fleet. So the GEMINIJETS did do all the A321s, which is really nice after they, good panel detail down there as well, and wing detail. Even the fleet code on the bottom left, I've never seen that in a US rig, so that's really cool. But anyway, the the deal of the matter is they did all the Heritage A321s. They only did Allegheny previously, so great job for Gemini for doing all these. I think collectors are very appreciative, at least I am, because the Aero Classic ones, while they're nice and simple, don't have the additional features and precision that GEMINIJETS does have on these molds, and thank goodness they were all IE. That made it so much more enjoyable compared to a couple of CFMs on the A319s, of which they only did one. But that said, this is still a really cool aircraft, very happy to feature it, and hopefully this will give the opportunity for Gemini to continue to do maybe some more normal liveries now that all these are done. I would love an A321 with the normal IAEs. I would love an American A319 with the IAEs from Gemini and so forth, because NG just hasn't quite got there yet. So we will continue to see what happens. Alrighty, everybody, next up we have the GEMINIJETS 1:400 scale United Airlines Boeing 777-200ER, and this is in the Star Alliance liveries. So looking quite nice, very excited to have this aircraft. Recently got the normal livery 777, now we're adding more Star Alliances, and hopefully they will do the Boeing 757 and complete that set as well. So Gemini really doing a good job on these special livery sets. I really like it. GEMINIJETS made for collectors by collectors, CGI. Boeing 777-200ER, you got United. So of course I already had the NG Starline 738, so that's why I didn't get this one. I got the 767 back in May, so really great to get the 777 to go with it all. And like I said, I'm very confident they'll do a 75, and I really like them to do a 75. I think that would be a cool mold livery combo for GEMINIJETS. Pamphlets right there, and then you got the beautiful aircraft on the inside as well. So very excited to take a look at this aircraft. We're not going to waste any additional time and go ahead and get started. All right, here it is, everybody. That is looking really good. GEMINIJETS continuing to do a really great job on these really cool aircraft, and certainly very happy about how it all came together. So this is looking good. Alrighty, everybody, and here's the GEMINIJETS 1:400 scale United Airlines Boeing 777-200ER, and this aircraft is in the Star Alliance livery. Again, super excited to have this aircraft. I think this is going to be a really cool piece of the puzzle, and overall it's just looking quite nice. So with that being said, let's just go ahead and get into the details, everybody. Alrighty, everybody, let's get started. So here's the cockpit windows right here, along with the nose cone. You have the Star Alliance logo and connecting people, uniting the world. Here's the L1 door, nose landing gear door. It honestly looks really nice. Like since they moved over to this JC Wings version, it's just been so superior. So I'm just so glad to see it. And GEMINIJETS really, once you add the printing in these JC Wings wide body molds, like in the wide body game, Gemini honestly is comparable in some areas. They're not going to be Aviation 400 with beacons and whatnot, but just compared to what we were even seeing a couple years ago with some of the tall nose landing gears and so forth on the 777, this is just like leaps and bounds better. I mean, I don't even think it's comparable, to be completely honest. Here's the L1 door, and then you got the Star Alliance billboard titles. I love the thin font. What I love that United did this time is previously on their Star Alliance liveries they had the black titles and engine. This time they made it Evo blue. It just looks so much better. I love when the airlines incorporate their colors into these special liveries. So I'm so happy to see that. So here's the United billboard titles. It just looks so much more appealing, so much better. So I'm so glad they recognized that. Now you got United Polaris up here, and then you got some of the premium economy, and then economy plus, followed by normal economy. So this aircraft actually has been made in 1:400 before, believe it or not, 77022. NG models did the previous livery version of it with the black titles and engines, but Gemini beat them to the punch on the Evo Blue. So here's the L2 door as well, and then you have the Alliance titles. You can see those a little bit better. Here's the wing root. This is probably the only slight knock on it if you really want to give it one. As you can tell, the wing root is an obvious indentation there. The camera angle isn't very favorable. I'm looking at it from more of like a 45-degree upward angle, and I really don't notice it as much, but from what you're seeing on the camera, you can definitely notice it. But fortunately, I mean, for example, you can see it's not quite as bad. So as long as you're looking at it from above and not level, it's not too bad. So, but fortunately, it's much better in previous versions. So that's what we'd love to see. There's the engines, and then you got the exhaust right there. You got the main landing gear as well, and then you got the wing area back over here. You got the flap slat and speed brake detail. It looks really nice, and the gear do pivot, which is an advantage over the NG1, for example, if you like that feature. But NG's gear are much more detailed, so it just depends on what you want. Most of the time, mine are sitting anyway, but I do like to use these Gemini and JC Wings ones on the stands. They look pretty cool with that feature. So pros and cons. Anyway, L3 door looks quite nice. Got some panel details down here, and you got the rest of the economy section. My favorite seat's 37, L, and A. It's right before this door right here, and it's a 2-seat. It's a really good gym. It's a normal economy seat, but it's really nice there with only one person, so that's really cool. Next to you in the window seat, I should say. But yeah, there's the antennas there in the back, and then you have the L4 door. Again, the registration is November 77022, US flag, and then you have the Star Alliance tail back here, which looks really nice. I love that. And you got the APU and horizontal stabilizers. APU in this 777 is also just phenomenal. Really like the kind of end pieces off of that. I also want to note that what was the other detail that I wanted to say? That Oh man, I almost had it there. Oh yeah, so JC Wings did the blue tulip one, I believe, or somebody did, and that one had some more color on it too, so it was more, you know, distinguishable, so that was cool. But it's really great to see United return to more of this Evo blue and pop format, so I really like that. And you have the 2 baggage doors as well, so they look quite nice. Top of the aircraft looks really good. Really like the details that we discussed there. And then the bottom, you got the stand hole, main landing gear looking quite nice. You got the landing gear doors and all those details. So very happy with this. This is looking quite nice. And overall, I'm very happy with what came to fruition with that aircraft. Finally, ladies and gentlemen, GEMINIJETS finally doing the regional jets for United Express at long last. We've talked about them for so long in so many videos. I was like, for many collectors, we need the re-releases of the CRJ 550 and the Embraer 175. And Gemini, in back-to-back months, did exactly that here. So GEMINIJETS, awesome job listening to the community. It took a while, but I really appreciate this, and I think many collectors are so excited, and I'm so excited that I even had to get 2 of them, because why not? So here's the GEMINIJETS 1:400 scale United Express Bombardier CRJ-550. So we're really excited to finally get some more of these in the collection. As you all know, I've kind of talked about it for my Delta and United fleets. My American fleet's in a really good shape, and I still buy American planes. But anyway, I want to start working on additional quantities here. This is really going to be helpful for Great Plains to have some more 550s and continue to build up that presence for those hub airlines at that airport and just for my overall collection. And honestly, this might blow some of you away, but honestly, United is really, to be honest, my favorite airline now. I know this might be shocking to hear you all say, but I really am a huge fan of what they're doing. Their operation's super fascinating to me. I love the value that you get with their seat product, and I got to support United. So that's exactly why I am collecting more of their aircraft, of course. So I want to continue to get my United fleet built up, and you know, I'm really enjoy their operations. So I love all the airlines, of course, but United honestly is probably my favorite at this point. How can you beat their livery too? So GEMINIJETS, here's the CGI Bombardier CRJ-550 United, and here's the aircraft right here. And here's a look at some aspects of the box. Here is the back, it's 2025, and then here is the pamphlet right here, and then you have the actual aircraft inside. So again, really excited to continue to build up this fleet, and then very excited for the Embraer 175s. Those will be coming in full force here very soon. So really excited to see those, and hopefully with no wing flick. Now the first CRJ 550 they did was immaculate, and the second 550 they did matches it. I mean, it looks nearly identical. The only difference is that tail color. The Evo blue is just a little bit of a different shade. Not a huge, you know, it's not bad. I would say I might prefer the first one just a little bit, but you know, it's not, I need to put them side by side, to be honest, and see what they're really like. But anyway, so let's just go ahead and get up the second one too, so that we know that we're in good shape with both of these. So pop the top, and no antenna on the 550 yet. I say yet because there's a good chance that that could happen at some point. But yeah, this is a good preparation for Denver. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not competing with you Mile High. I do want to do maybe some more of the O'Hare sections at some point, so maybe I could even do Terminal C there at some point. We'll see, or who knows, maybe the new Concourse D will be the right amount of gates with the aircraft. But I do have a good variety of mainline aircraft now, or maybe B might be a little bit better, and I could do a little extension off and feature the F gates on the west side, the first portion Concourse, where there's like 10 gates there, and I have about 10 United regionals, so that would fit out pretty good. And I think that Alaska parks on one of those, and maybe another. But anyway, let's go ahead and take a look. Spirit's somewhere over there too now, but I'm not exactly sure where. But these are just fantasies right now. Right now, we need to really take a look at these aircraft. So they're looking really good. I hope it's not too bright, everybody. I'm so sorry. I didn't realize it was so bright. Let me see if I can turn that down just a little bit. There we go. Sorry that was so bright. I knew that was kind of bright, but I didn't realize that was that bad on the Euro whites. So here they are, the United Express CRJ 550s. They look really nice. So excited to get another pair of these, and I truly think that they're going to be pretty instrumental in regards to the fleet. I also have sunglasses on, so the blue on the tail, now looking at it on the tail a little bit more, doesn't look quite as light as what I anticipated. So with that said, let's not waste any additional time and go ahead and get started. So yeah, thank you Gemini once again, and very excited for the upcoming massive unboxing where we'll feature the Embraer 175. And now if we can get an A319 and maybe even an A320 just to balance it out a little bit, and some of the other aircraft will really be in good shape. Gemini's still not done an Evo 739 either, so there's no shortage of planes, and their molds are pretty good on a good portion of these. So, but this mold definitely is there. So you have the nose cone here. It looks really nice. I love all the panel detail. You got the the cockpit windows. The nose landing gear door seems taller. If anybody else is noticing that, please let me know, but I think that's just substantially taller. I think it's just going to take a little bit of time to get used to it, but honestly, I like it because I think it makes the nose landing gear pop a little bit more. When you get aircraft that are this small, it's really tough to proportionally do them to the proportion, or it gets too small. So I think that making a little bit of elevation there to make it pop a little bit more is worth it, because I'm sure proportionally what they were doing previously was probably closer. This could also just be a pure QC situation, but I definitely am going to go inside and compare these in a little bit just to get an idea of what they look like. And then that's not an antenna, there's no way. Yeah, that's the back door of the nose landing gear. They've had that on there for a long time. Connecting people uniting the world. Here's Starline's logo. Here's the L1 door, and this is operated by GoJet Airlines. SkyWest are flying these now, so who knows, maybe they'll do a SkyWest one at some point, but good to get GoJet. They're the more common one, of course. United Express, and then the CRJ 550 is very unique if you don't know, because the CRJ 550 actually is the first aircraft of the CRJ 700 frame to feature first class. So it was a really cool design that GoJet worked on with Bombardier to make a reality. They took a bunch of 700s and made them 550s. So there's a bunch of cool first class. It also has a designated luggage rack on this side of the aircraft, which is cool. So they have quite a few first class seats, and then of course you have the normal economy. But this is truly a tremendous asset for a variety of airports, you know, the small hub and really smaller airports. When you want to fly multiple frequencies to hubs like Chicago, Newark, and Washington Dulles, it is an instrumental aircraft in providing really good comfort to passengers that want it, the premium classes. There's also several economy plus, but also getting, you know, that 50 seat mark for the smaller market. So it truly is a smart way to do it, and you make just as much money, if not more, with these premium offerings compared to just the 66 seats on the normal CRJ 700 class with a couple of firsts. So I think it does work really well. So anyway, and I was a little bit incorrect on saying that. First 50-seat aircraft with a first class offering, not the first offering of first class on a CRJ 700. That's been done for years. I meant to say, I'm sorry. First offering of a 50-seat jet with first class. So sorry about that. Registration, and then great panel details on the wings and so forth. All that looks really nice. They did a good job. Got the flap slot, the speed brakes. Down here, you got the main landing gear and the stand hole. The registration's number 506 Golf Juliet. They had 504 previously, done in 2019 November. And then, yeah, I like to get the complimentary seat selection back here when I'm on normal economy with United. And I've flown 2 of these now, Chicago to Tulsa, which is cool. Now they're running a bunch of Embraer 175s on it going forward, which is great. That means more capacity, but obviously I do like seeing these at the airport some too. But on the 4th daily flight, and here's another reason, I know this isn't even model related. I'm just gonna make this really quick because I can't get it off my mind. With regards to the CRJ 550, another tremendous asset is that these can do early morning flights and late evening flights to align with the banks, so that you can save money and fill 50 seats rather than having several open seats on a 76-seat plane. So for example, this aircraft will actually, when Chicago's 4 daily at Tulsa in the peak months, it will come in at 5:30 p.m. and leave to go back to Chicago at 6:30 p.m. This works really well because they're able to fully fill the 50 seats consistently there. And the Embraer 175 is not too much at that time of day, but it just makes more sense to be 50 seats to make sure that you're maximizing that load factor. So it's really instrumental in those ways. And once again, to have a premium offering at that seat capacity is great. Here's the engines right here. They look really nice, and there's that tail. Now that I'm looking at it more, it seems more of a, you know, shade that looks about right. So happy to see that. You got the APU horizontal stabilizers, and again, I'm probably don't have the best scope on that, so I just need some pictures. And it looks different in all lighting conditions as well. Here's what it looks like shaded, if you can even see that very good. There you go. But anyway, on the right side, very similar, and there's the smaller R1 door, but the baggage door is actually below the engine on the left side here. So yeah, a really good looking aircraft. Super excited to have it in the collection today. I think it's going to be instrumental in the future of the fleet, and again, super excited to have it here. So looking quite nice. Alrighty, everybody, next up we're going to be taking a look at an aircraft that I really went back and forth on, but I just couldn't help it, and I think it'll be helpful for model airports long term. The Icelandair Airbus A321neos. So yeah, these are going into full effect, obviously, with the Boeing 757's retirement coming up. So yeah, I really like this aircraft. I think it's very instrumental in what they can utilize the aircraft on, and I'm just really excited to have it here in my fleet today. So yeah, I know I already have several Icelandairs, so I was really back and forth, but you know, it's just a really good looking plane, and I just couldn't help it. So that's why we have it here today. What I might do to be maximize my money is I might sell my Max 8 and redeem a Max 9 on CRP for NG. I think that would be a really good compromise, so that I, you know, can justify, you know, having so many Icelandairs a little bit better. GEMINIJETS made for collectors by collectors. You got the CGI Airbus A321neo Icelandair. This has the magenta tail, which I really like. I like really all the colors, to be honest. So this is a really good way. Like Condor obviously went for a very bold way of putting out these liveries, but I think that Gemini did a really good job in putting it in there. So yeah, this is looking really good. Very excited to take a look at this aircraft, and jets continue to distract me above going into probably Tulsa. But anyway, and you know what? I like doing these videos out here so we can get some interruptions like this, some good interruptions. So let me go ahead and tell you all what it is real quick. Southwest Tulsa to Austin. I'm surprised that's coming so far over here to my house, but the Austin main line continues to go strong for Southwest. So there we go. That is our interruption today on that Austin flight. I need to do that flight. I haven't done that flight in like 3 years. See, without the sneezing, it is really fun to, you know, just see what's going on. Anyway, Iceland Air A321neo. This is going to be a good one. Really excited for this. And yeah, that was worth it. That was worth the money, man. That looks so good. Oh man, that is a good looking plane. Gosh, it really pops, man. That magenta is just the difference. Like that Max 8 that I got, it has that blue, the light blue, and it just doesn't contrast that tail as good in my eyes, which isn't criticizing. I'm just saying that the magenta and the green just, they really pop. But that magenta honestly is just so good. So there it is. Iceland Air Airbus A321neo. So very excited to have this aircraft. Again, this is really instrumental in what they're doing. They're flying them to, I think, even like Seattle and Denver and all kinds of places. So it's really cool to see what this aircraft is doing in their fleet. And overall, I'm a really big fan of it. So with that being said, let's not waste any additional time. Pop top. No, I'm just playing. And go ahead and get started. Yeah, I'm glad I turned the ISO down for these Euro whites. You could barely see them. So I apologize if the first couple were washed out a little bit. I'll be sure to keep that in mind going forward. So let's go ahead and get started. Raccoon mask looking very nice. I think they're mandatory on the Neos, so glad to see it here. Get the nose cone here, and then you have some sort of titles there. I can't see it. It's probably the city name that they're highlighting on this aircraft. L1 door looking very nice. And you got the nose landing gear and nose landing gear door. First class up here, and then of course you start to move into the, I believe it's just economy plus followed by economy, but the Iceland Air billboard titles, as you can tell, they look really nice. I really like the bold pop. I think that it's definitely a tremendous brand recognition upgrade from the previous smaller titles, so love that. And then of course you have the overwing exits right here and the pad, so love to see that. Here's the Neo engines. Of course they're maybe just a touch big, but I still think they look quite nice for the most part. So fortunately they've got better on clearance over time, and if I can get a pencil lead under there, which I can, then they have done a pretty good job, I would say. So not bad. Here is the wing. I love the wing details on the A321neo. And one aspect of these A321s at Gemini that I like a little bit more than NGs, I think that the Shotcut angle is a little bit closer to correct, so happy about that. You got the main landing gear there as well, and then you also have the Shotcut over there with the Iceland Air logo, so nice to see that, good brand recognition. Of course, on the Neo, you have this additional emergency exit, so nice to see that, followed by the two antennas right here in the Wi-Fi box, similar to that A321 for American that we looked at earlier. The registration is Tango Foxtrot India Alpha Alpha, so one of the first Neos they got presumably. And then you got the Airbus A321neo titles back here. You got the L4 door, or L2, I guess, L3 technically I would think. And you have the magenta tail, which like I said earlier, I think it really contrasts well off that navy. Really big fan of that, or purple or whatever you want to call it, but I think it's supposed to be navy. Just kind of a really tough color to see. But anyway, it looks really nice. Got the APU horizontal stabilizers, all those good details. I love the green trim in the Neo engines, by the way. Here's a good profile of that. And the right side of the aircraft looks really good. You got the two baggage doors and the two cargo, I suppose, or whatever you want to call them. And then you got the smaller baggage door back there. And all that came together very nicely. It looks really nice, so happy to see it. Top of the aircraft looks really nice, so certainly happy to see that. And the bottom of the aircraft looks really good. Got GEMINIJETS there, and all of it came together very well. So very happy to see it. This is looking really good, and I think this was definitely worth the money. And I think I'll do my CRP plan on a Max 9 so we can maximize the assets. So definitely happy about that.
Wildcat Diecast has some of the best model aircraft deals out there. From great prices to all the brands to free shipping, Wildcat Diecast has you covered. This model aircraft retailer is a game changer and saves you money with every order. Save even more money with discount code CMAviation for 10% off. Be sure to check out Wildcat Diecast and bring those amazing deals to your model aircraft collection today.
Alrighty everybody, so here's our last 1 to 400 here for today's video. This is the Sun Country Boeing 737-800 Minnesota Gophers by NG Models. So as we know, NG, a little bit of improvement for sure. Whether it will be consistent or not, we'll see. We've obviously seen peaks and then we've seen downfalls. So let's hope that it gets consistent. But this is definitely an offering that I'm really excited about. And yeah, this will be a cool special livery to finally have for Sun Country. I just have the sticker right now. So this will be my 4th Sun Country. So happy about this. And I've seen it a couple times. So this is great. Sun Country Airlines, Boeing 737-800. You got the CGI here, and then you got the M. This is for the University of Minnesota, which is a pretty large accredited university to my knowledge. They are in the main league and so forth for sports and whatnot. Here is the yellow right here, kind of that dark yellow color that Minnesota has in their logo, and then the brown, or it seems like a brown, but I'm not sure what you call it technically. Here's the registration, November 809. So your Yankee won the 400 scale. So yeah, this is my now 3rd in G Sun Country aircraft, so really happy to have yet another one. They've done quite a few. They've done the 700 with and without winglets and a good handful of others. And I hope that the University of Minnesota teams get to fly on this. I'm sure that would be pretty cool. And I'm sure they have already at some point. But anyway, let's go ahead and get this going. So very excited to have this. And fortunately, they will be doing some more new aircraft. So here's the collector cards and what they're looking like right now. So yeah, hopefully NG can continue to rise from here. I really want to see additional, new subjects that have not been done yet. Like, they're doing a good job with existing subjects for the most part, but this was one that I was really excited about because it finally is a new subject that nobody's done yet. And there's so many of these that they could still do, like those American A321s I mentioned earlier. You obviously have a million Frontier tails that they could, embark on as well. And the list never ends. But that said, here it is, everybody, the Sun Country Boeing 737-800 Minnesota Gophers. Very excited to have this aircraft once again. I think this is a really tremendous asset here for my collection, and it looks really nice. So that said, let's not waste any additional time and go ahead and get started. So here's the nose cone. We know how we feel about NG in their proportions. They're just tremendous in all of what they do, so it looks really nice. So you got the nose cone there, and then you got the nose landing gear and nose landing gear door. Here's the pitot tubes and so forth. Here's the L1 door. It has a reddish outline, which is really cool. And then this is an interesting part. So I can't tell, but it appears to me that the billboard titles and M are a little too light. Now, it very well could be the sun. Yeah, it might be, and it could just be the sunglasses. So I'm not complaining, of course. I'm just assessing because per what the box looks like, which could just be a bad CGI, I should have a picture on my phone. I know I took a picture of it in Dallas the other day, so I'll compare it. Same story to the 550. I'm not being too critical yet. Just judging it, it immediately caught my attention. So, but it still looks nice. So I think it's probably close. So once again, not complaining, just going off of what I'm seeing. It seems like it might be a little light, but that's perfectly fine. So you have Sun Country, and I believe this says the proud sponsor of Minnesota Gophers Athletics, I believe. So that's really nice. I really like this yellow up here. I think it looks really cool. Really adds some definition to delivery. Here is the engine right here. Looks really nice. And again, that color seems maybe just a little light, but I need to get some, other pictures to counter or cross reference. So that's kind of the story on that. You have the wing details here as well with the flap slats and speed brakes, and you got the emergency exit pad. They look quite nice. Here's the winglet detail right here. It looks really nice, and very happy with the subject and how that all looks. Main landing gear also look really nice, and you got the red portion there, and also the hubs all look good. The antennas are really cool down there. You can see one is maroonish or whatever color that is, like I said, and one is the white, so that's nice. The Minnesota M was the first that caught my attention right out of the box. That just seems a little too light. I very well could be wrong once again, but if we're going off of, again, it's just so tough to see outside, so I'll see if I can put some other reference photos on, but just in normal pure sunlight, yeah, I think my sunglasses on the Paroid, or whatever it's called, lenses might just be really throwing me off. Yeah, they are. I think it's all me, everybody, so don't take what I'm saying too seriously because I very well could be off. But it just seems a little bright, but maybe it's not. But just judging off of what I know the Minnesota logo to be, they might be a little bright. But anyway, I'll review the footage and put some subtitles and so forth. So don't worry, I'm not complaining, I'm just giving an assessment. Boeing 737-800 right there, and then the yellow swoops up here before we introduce that maroon brownish color onto the tail. The registration, like I said, is November 809 Sierra Yankee. You have the US flag, and then you have the Sun Country yellow. I do think they got a little bit closer on the yellow. That looks really nice, so that's excellent. And then you have the Sun Country logos. So I do think Sun Country really did it out of the park with this livery. I think it's really cool. Personally, I like the colors being lighter, but I'm not sure if it's as accurate to the real life subjects. So that's why I'm saying it like that. But I think it pops better like this. NG has been known for really vibrating their colors, and I think there's pros and cons to that. So yeah, it's just a normal assessment here, you know. Not to be took too seriously, but just, you know, giving my overall thoughts on this. Top of the aircraft, you have some really good details, emergency exit pad, all of that looks really nice. Bottom of the aircraft, you have the maroon, yellow, and all the details. So very happy about this. This is looking really nice. Let's go ahead and take a look at our 1-200, and then we'll take it into the conclusion. Alrighty, everybody, take a look at this. A lot of amazing models. So with that being said, let's go ahead and take a look. Gemini, thank you so much for finally doing the United Express regional jets again. The 550 is looking amazing. It's going to look amazing at Great Plains. NG's 8th American MD-80 never fails, so we love to see it, and we'll continue to maximize the opportunities, despite I think that they should balance it out a little bit more. And then you got the other 550 over here looking strong. Sun Country looking a little bit better in this light, to be honest. I'm liking it, looking good, great model, and that will be great to feature at the airports. And you got another special livery with the American and the Heritage A321. Again, a very good looking plane, so really happy to feature it. It's going to be great. With the Iceland Airbus A321neo, I think this is a really good choice, and I'm very excited to have it in the collection today. Star Alliance United Boeing 777-200. This is a beautiful plane. Very excited to have it and continuing the United fleet buildup. And we got the Hawaiian Boeing 717-1-200. A great steal and definitely very reflective and indicative of a cool plane that I've been on before. So with that said, I really hope all of you enjoyed this. Feel free to let me know what you think in the comments below. But thank you all so much for watching. Take it easy, everybody. Stay safe. Just for us, as do you love and love you do. My name's CM Aviation. I want to thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you all soon. CM Aviation is signing off.